Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? I can see you. Oh, you're all in the chat. Happy days. What is that to my side? Can anyone guess? It's a Paul Thorpe. What an honour. What an honour. He's even suited and booted for this, and there's me wearing my wizard hoodie. I feel underdressed.
No, mate, pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's absolutely awesome. I'm glad you gave up just an hour and a half of your time to come onto my channel. I mean, I'm trying to get to 308,000 subscribers, Paul, but I'm about 302,000 short, I believe.
Well, one day it'll come. One day maybe it'll come. You never know. I tell you now, it's hard work, but you know, I support everyone that has got the guts to put themselves out there, do what you're doing. I think it's great. So more power to you.
Happy days. Like this, I've got loads of questions. Everybody watching, I've just told Paul I did have about 33 questions, but we're not doing it for a week. So we've whittled it down. But the first question, Paul, it's the easy one. You should be able to answer it. It's the first question on every single interview. But who is Paul Thorpe?
Oh, that's a good question. Who is Paul Thorpe? Ordinary fella, ordinary dad, ordinary granddad, fully grounded, I hope. Just a regular bloke, lad down the pub, good neighbour, good dad, I hope, good granddad. Just a regular bloke, mate. The bloke next door. That's it. Nothing special.
You can't say nothing special about yourself, Paul.
Honestly, you know, thank you for saying that, but I truly believe, you know, like, I'm just an ordinary person. I suppose I was born with a gift of being able to talk, not as well as I'd like to be able to, but, you know, ever since I was a kid at school, really, I was always sort of put forward as a spokesperson for the lads and stuff, you know. But I just consider, I seriously, and I am just an ordinary person. You know, there's nothing special about any one of us that do the job that we're doing. I mean, we're all regular people. There's nothing special about anyone, in my humble opinion. We're all equal. Some people do perhaps a little bit more than others, or they might be lucky enough to be able to do more than others. But yeah, I'm just an ordinary fella, mate, just an ordinary bloke.
Maybe that's why you're so popular, because you're just genuinely an ordinary bloke.
Well, I hope so. I mean, you know, I guess when you do YouTube, you can do one or two things. I mean, I've got other friends that do YouTube that have got like 1 million, 2 million. I think one of my friends has got about 5 million subscribers. And they're not necessarily the person that you see on screen. You know, it's an act, and that's not a bad thing necessarily. I mean, when you watch a great actor on the TV or on a movie, you know, when you watch, I don't know, Tom Cruise on the movies, well, that's not really Tom Cruise. You know, Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise. So all of these people, you know, they have a method of acting that is good for their career, good for their channel, good for their viewers, whatever they may be doing. But I just never really wanted to go down that route. I mean, I could act a load of different parts. You know, I probably would have made a decent actor, in my opinion. I'm pretty reasonable at that sort of stuff. And I could have been, you know, the loudmouth Cockney. I could have been the businessman. I could have been the financial advisor. I could have been all sorts of things that I'm capable of doing. I could have been the football man that talks about the football and talks about the boxing. But I just really want to talk about what I believe in, what I'm passionate about, and be real. I think if you're real, people appreciate that more than anything. I know I do. I like to meet real people.
Yeah,
and when I say real, I mean genuine people. You know, I like to be able to think that people are coming at me with their best intentions rather than their worst intentions, or a motive, a nefarious motive. So that was a long answer to who I am, but
well, you know, it's good. I mean, a lot of what you do online, we don't really know. So, you know, it's a question that has to be asked, I'm afraid. I mean, if someone asks me that, I'll be stuck. That's why I ask it. Normally, the only way you can get it out is by being honest.
Yeah, there's certainly there's a lot of people that talk about or have spoken about me on YouTube and said things, and you know, it used to really get to me because I used to think, you know what, you just don't know me, right? You know, it's so far away from the truth. How can you say these things? And what I've learned is that that's what people do. You know, that is what people do. They will, you know, I would never go on the internet and lie about someone, deliberately make up stories about them that are completely false just for the fun of it. I think that's very, very wrong. It's a wrong thing to do. But look, whatever floats their boat, if that's what gets them the views, that's their job, I suppose. It is what it is.
But, you know, I could never sort of see myself, I assume you wouldn't either, is put yourself on YouTube to be like that towards someone in order to get views, likes, or make money. I mean, it says more about that person than it does yourself, surely.
Well, I would have thought so, you know, but people will make their own minds up. You know, at the end of the day, you just keep going. You keep doing what you consider to be the right thing. You know, you live or die by your decisions, what you say when you open your mouth, and let the public decide. And I always say, look, I'm always open to criticism. If anyone wants to criticize me or ask me a difficult question, I'll answer it. And I'll be as honest as I can be. If they don't like the answer, well, that's fine, but at least I've been honest with them. And the reason I can say that is because I have nothing to hide. I've never have had anything to hide. So I'm not one of these blokes that's worried about, oh, someone's going to say this, someone's going to find that out, someone's going to come up with something in my past. I'm not worried about that shit because there's nothing there for them. So, you know, I'll answer anything.
Excellent. That's sort of ate up one of my questions there. Literally, I was going to say, like, you know, you've gained YouTube fame by being true to yourself, your country, your beliefs, and honest with your subscribers and viewers, yet the haters hate. And then my question was, does that dishearten you?
Nah, that doesn't really dishearten me. In fact, I'll be honest, sometimes it actually gives me, you know, it spurs me on. I find it quite unfortunate that people, look, if I'm honest with you, mate, and I said I'll be honest and I will, I think a lot of the hate that I get is from older men, right? And if I'm frank, and I don't want this to come over the wrong way, but I think some of them are a little bit jealous.
Yeah.
You know, they're jealous that I've been a success in my life. You know, I've brought up a lovely family. I've got a beautiful wife, beautiful kids, beautiful grandkids. You know, I'm lucky enough to be able to afford to live out here in Spain and get away from all the crap. I like to think I've looked after myself over the years, and some people, some men just don't like that. You know, they want you to be skint. They want you to be in a mess. They want you to be unhappy. And if you're all of those things, then they're happy.
Yeah.
So I think some of it is jealousy. I think some of it is because I came to move to Spain, which I do get that part of it. I will always put my hands up and say, look, if someone dislikes me now because I've moved to Spain, I will concede that to them. I will say, okay, fair enough. I get that. I understand. You know, I'm not sure what difference it would have made if I'd have stayed at home. It might have made a lot of difference for me, but it wouldn't have made any difference to them or to the country. It would just mean that I was being persecuted, not them.
Yeah.
But I get it. You know, I get that. And as I said, I will, you know, I will put my hands up there and say, I understand why you're angry over that.
Yeah, that's literally my next question. I've realised that a lot of these questions at the beginning, I'm like, I'm creeping a bit here because this next one's saying, as a huge voice for the people, so I'm bigging you up. But and for anyone who likes Paul Thorpe and the suit jacket. The link to his channel is in the description. So go subscribe and hit the bell notification, because we'll be discussing what's going on with his channel a bit later. I've got some questions for that. But this one obviously was a huge voice for the people and the UK. But people have always been saying he's in Spain. That's not patriotic. It's like basically you're not allowed to have a life, isn't it? But what do you say to these people other than shut up?
Well, the problem is I get it. I do get it. I really do. And I understand it. And I'm not going to have a go at anyone for having a go at me for being in Spain, because I think that is a fair criticism to some degree. There's a big story behind it, which, you know, everyone already knows. I'm not going to bore them with it again, right? But I'm not here out of choice. I'm here out of semi-choice, if that makes sense. You know, sometimes the truest of stories, the most honest of stories, have a rather bizarre background. You know, me and my wife have been coming here for 20, 25 years, and we always said that one day, sort of a bit tongue-in-cheek, you know, one day we come and live out here, and the older we got, the more we were coming out, you know, 2, 3, 4 times a year, 5 times a year for weekends and short breaks. And it was like the journey was kind of better than the arrival. You know, we talked about it a lot, but hadn't really made any definitive plans. A, because we still had our kids at home, and B, my mother and father-in-law are in their 90s, and we didn't really want to leave them. But when all this shit come around at home, when I was pulled at the airport on 3 occasions, my bank account's being frozen, I've got the police pulling me over like 6 times in like 3 weeks. My wife said to me, oh, and by the way, in between that, my youngest daughter moved to Spain. Okay, so now my youngest daughter's in Spain, my oldest daughter's back in the UK. And my wife's saying, look, if we're going to make the move, if we are ever going to seriously consider going to live in Spain, there's no better time to do it. You know, now is the time. And we decided to, you know, come away. I wanted to carry on fighting. This is the thing that I want everyone to understand. I've done reasonably well in my business life, 45, 50 years of graft. And the easiest thing for me to have done would be to come away to Spain, shut my computer down, and spend the rest of my life on the beach or out clay pigeon shooting or horse riding or whatever else I fancy doing. That would have been the easiest thing to do. The hardest thing to do was to come out here and carry on, because I knew that I was going to take flack, but I don't care, because I my passion is my country, the people that live there, and more than anything, the future that our children are going to experience when they get older. And I talk about legacy a lot. You know, every man leaves a legacy. My granddad left my dad a legacy. My dad left me a legacy, and they pass those legacies down. And if they're good legacies, well, those good legacies produce good men. That's my belief. So the one thing that's really important to me, if you said to me, Paul, apart from your family, what's the most important thing in the world to you, is that I want to leave a good legacy. So that my kids, when I'm long gone, my dad, God rest his soul, has been dead now 35 years, I think it is. And I still think about that man every day of my life, because he was such a good role model, and the legacy that he left me. And I hope that my kids are still remembering me when I've been gone for 35 years. And I'm very big on that. You know, I'm really... I watch some fathers neglect their children, and they leave them nothing but pain and bad advice. And I think, how can you do that? Is that what you want to pass on to the most precious thing that you could ever have in your life, your lovely kids? Is that what you really want to pass on to them? Can't you do better than that? You know, so that's really important to me. sorry, I've digressed a little bit. It's a long answer.
Nice.
But it's really, really important.
Yeah, definitely. Probably resonates, Paul. It probably resonates. I mean, if the situation changed, would you ever consider coming back to the UK?
100%. I want to come back.
Yeah.
I'm desperate to come back. I'm desperate to come back. But the thing is, there's no point in me coming back for them to nick me the moment I walk off the plane.
Yeah.
And for them potentially to do whatever they fancy to me, because we don't live, and everyone knows this, even if someone has criticised me for leaving, they've surely got to concede that we don't live in the country that we used to live in. There's no such thing these days as common sense or proper justice for British patriots. We are being treated like nobody else. I mean, look at those people that got found not guilty for the sledgehammer attack, the pro-Palestine mob. They were found not guilty. Ricky Jones, the Labour councillor, was found not guilty. Lucy Connolly went to jail. Peter Lynch went to jail. There's a pattern here.
Yeah.
One side goes to prison, the other side gets found not guilty. And here's the bottom line. I don't trust the bastards, right? I'm not a gambling man. I've never bet on the dogs. I've never bet on the horses. I've never, bet on the next colour of the car that's going to come around the corner. And I tell you what, mate, I'm not about to bet with my freedom. I'm not about to gamble with the life and the safety of my girls.
Yep.
So they can hate on me all they like, mate. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, as much as I love my country and I love my online family and the patriots of the UK, I love my girls more, and that's the end of it.
Yep.
You know, my girls are 100%. My world.
Yep.
And I want to be here to take care of them and protect them. So would I come back? I would love to come back. I'd love to be on a plane tonight to come back to the launch of the policy advance event tomorrow. I'd love to be there. Ben is disappointed that I'm not going to be there. You know, the college is disappointed that I'm not going to be there, but they understand I'm better here being able to do what I do than potentially stuck in a bloody cell somewhere.
Yeah,
which will be the end of my life, mate. I'm not some big, brave, tough gangster guy. I never ever made out to be some kind of hard man where prison wouldn't bother him. It would kill me. It would kill me. And I'll make no bones about that. At 60, coming up 64, if I haven't seen my kids if I haven't spoken to my kids for a day, I'm in bits, let alone 3 months, 6 months, a year or whatever. So it is what it is.
Yep, totally get that. Funny how you mentioned prison, etc. But this is one of those questions I warned you about, that you think it's going one way, but I do reel it back and you're like, I'll see what you've done there. This is the one.
Yeah.
But talking of prison, do you believe in and do you stand with the racist, the Islamophobic and the anti-establishment, yet patriotic, true Englishman, man of the people, unite the kingdom, be British, be proud, Tommy Robinson?
Great question. Well, look, here's the deal. Look, okay, let me word this. Let me kind of consider this the best way I can to make sure I get the wording right. Up until 2 years ago, I'd never, ever met Tommy Robinson. And I had no idea what he was like as an individual. I'd heard all the rumours, all the accusations. I knew they weren't true because I'd watched enough of him online to come to my own conclusion. And I met Tommy through a friend of mine, Liam Tufts, who obviously everyone will know. I've known Liam for a number of years. He was a customer in one of my watch shops many years ago. So me and Liam already had a long-standing relationship. And I met Tommy, and I can only say that I found him to be very polite, very gentlemanly. His behaviour has always been exemplary, certainly when I've been around him. The accusations of him being a racist and a white supremacist are, I can't even think of the word to describe
Annoying.
it. Because, well, yeah, ridiculous, annoying, untrue, all of those words. But the mainstream media and the authorities, society in general, are one day going to learn and they're going to regret what they've done to Tommy Robinson over the years, because they've made him a scapegoat for everything that they've done wrong.
Yeah.
And I was watching a Scottish MP on X earlier on. I can't remember his name. Gordon McKee. Gordon McKee, his name is, who was on LBC recently describing Tommy as the biggest white supremacist and racist in the United Kingdom. That is just a lie of immense proportions. Now, if you like Tommy or not, it doesn't really matter. I don't know Tommy in his private life as well as a lot of people, and I don't judge him for his private life because, frankly, it's none of my goddamn business. What I judge him for is what he has done, what he continues to do, the cause that he fights for, and I agree with that. If I saw anything that I thought was inappropriate, I would walk away and say, "Nah, he's not for me." I'd still agree with his philosophy, but I wouldn't stick up for him if I thought he had done something badly wrong, or if I saw him do something badly wrong. You know, if it was serious, I'd have to say, and I'd have to call it out. But I've not seen anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just seems a bit. I mean, even to me, like a lot of what I hear about, I'm straight away in my head, I'm like, there could be a lawsuit for him because what they're saying. I mean, and you see it everywhere. Don't matter what you're watching, and if his name comes up, it just seems to be the racist, and you're like, hang on a minute, surely lawsuit.
Well, what Gordon McKay said about him today or yesterday, whenever it was, as I say, Scottish Labour MP. What Gordon McKay said about Tommy was almost certainly 100% libelous in the respect that if Tommy was anyone else, he would be sued for every penny that he's got, for every penny that he's likely to have for the rest of his life. And, you know, but he knows he can get away with it. And the reason he can get away with it is no judge would find in favour for Tommy over a Labour MP. So it's a battle that Tommy can't win. All you can do is call these people out when they come up, and I'm going to be doing that later on. Gordon McKay, he's not going to get away with saying what he said, not because it's Tommy, but because Gordon McKay's a bloody liar. He's a fraud. He's a cheat. He's a tyrant. And by the way, Gordon McKay also voted against the child grooming gang inquiry.
Wow.
So my message to Gordon McKay is simple. It's you're a relatively young man, Gordon, and I don't know if you've got any kids, but I tell you what you're going to be remembered for. I tell you the legacy that you're going to leave for your children is one that their dad voted against a rape gang inquiry. Some legacy to leave your children, eh? So, you know, let him live with that. Let him live with it. Let him live with the lies. Let him live with. He'll be forever remembered as a man that voted against the grooming gang inquiry.
So basically, this man is up there with that Matt Allright. I saw your video about that, and I was like, "How you done that without swearing more?" I do not know. So I was like, "Wow." I mean, that bloke—that's a special kind of.
These people are vile. These people are vile. And look, that man's got children. He's got 2 children of his own. That man has 2 children of his own. What on earth is he thinking? Again, we talk about legacies. You know, that Matt Allright used to be on a program called Road Traders. Well, I tell you what he should be on, Road Reporters.
Yeah.
You know, he spent half of his career sticking a microphone under someone's nose and telling them what a cheat they were. Well, actually, he needs a bit of his own medicine because that man is a liar. He's a cheat, he's a scoundrel, he's a coward, he's all of those things because he gaslit a young mum whose baby was crying in the background during the interview, tried to make her sound like a racist, tried to make her look silly, pulled all the funny faces that you could possibly imagine to try and make his audience think that this woman was an idiot and he's holier than thou. The time has come that these people, I would love to see a complete ban on all of these people from any shops. If you own a shop, if you own a business, don't let these people in. Ban them. Say, excuse me, you're not welcome here. You're a liar. All the pubs, you're not welcome in here. Restaurants, Matt Allwright will go out and eat a lot, I would imagine. I'd love to see him get turned away from restaurants, because this is what these people deserve. They need to be shunned and shown up for exactly what they are. And what they are is, well, I won't swear on your channel, but what they are is, everyone knows what they are.
Yeah. But also they're trying to define the Islamophobic. I mean, that's thrown at Tommy Robinson more than the proverbial swear word for poo. But I mean, what are they going to do with that? I mean, surely they have to drop that, because you can't do one thing like that about one religion and not the rest. Surely
you can
cause more.
Yeah, but you can when that religion is so powerful and is basically in charge, and that's where we're at. I mean, the authorities fear Islam, the authorities fear Islamists, the authorities fear the bloc Muslim vote. They fear their organisation, which you have to take your hat off to them and say, look, these people they've got their shit together, they've got their act together.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so you got to say that they've got their act together. So the authorities fear them, and that's why they pander to them.
Yeah, definitely. That sort of links to the next one with the like, to see what you actually think about all this pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas, pro-Islamic ideology, like Jew hatred protests that have been happening so often in London. I mean, they should have been stopped, surely.
Yeah, look, I want them all off our streets. I mean, this is the UK, and we do have a free society. And I haven't got anything against people from any religion or background from making their voice known on our streets every now and again. You know, if they want to have a protest in London on a couple of Sundays a year for half an hour, let them get on with it, right? That's what living in a free society is all about. But this has been a very carefully orchestrated, continual event after event after event that's costing the taxpayer multiple millions, if not billions of pounds. And it's just a flex. You know, this is us showing you how powerful we are. This is us showing you how organised we are. This is us showing you how dangerous we could potentially be. Take note and be afraid. And the authorities should have clamped down there a long time ago, but I refer you to my answer a minute ago. The authorities are scared of them, hence they let them get away with it. And you know, that is the situation. If you're frightened of someone, you know, if you've got a bully in front of you, you know, if you're not brave enough to stand up to it, it will continue to bully you, and that's what they've been doing.
Yep. And that's all. I jumped onto this one because it bodes into what we're literally talking about now with Best Black BB. Thank you very much for the super chat. How do we get more men to stand up against tyranny?
Bess, good evening, Bess.
Why did you ask that, Bess?
I wish I knew the answer, Bess, and I'll tell you why. Because, you know, British men, English men, frustrate me at times. You know, their towns and cities across the nation are being infiltrated, taken over by people who want to destroy their societies and their way of life. And I'm not just talking about illegal migrants now, I'm talking about indigenous British people who are treacherous. And the men are, you know, you try and get 25,000 men together. There's only one man in the country that can do that and get, you know, 1 million people together, and that's Tommy. But you'll get 50,000 of them at a football match on a Saturday afternoon, you know, because that seems to mean more to them than than their country and their kids' future. I believe it's a process of education. And this is why, bizarrely, I'm not worried about Keir Starmer staying in government. I'm not worried about David Lammy taking over. I'm not worried about Angela Rayner taking over. Because to be honest with you, for me, the bigger mess they make of the UK right now, the quicker people will wake up. Everything has to be broken before it can be fixed. And at the moment, there's not enough, not quite enough is broken for the men of England, the men of Northern Ireland, the men of Scotland, the men of Wales, particularly the men of England, I would say, if I'm honest with you. Not enough is broken for them to stand up and go, we're not having this anymore. Little things, little steps. It's like at the moment, our dogs, our beautiful dogs, man's best friend, the animals that keep so many of our lonely and our old folk accompanied and alive, and giving someone to love and to cuddle at night and to smile and be warm to. An unconditional love that a dog gives you, even that is under attack now by certain people. And it's little things like that that might, just might, break the camel's back eventually.
Yep.
You know, maybe they should stop football. Maybe they should get football under threat and see how the lads feel about it then. Look, the football lads as such have always been supported and very good. I'm talking about the general footballing, supporting community. You know, we heard at the darts the other night, you know, the darts crowd was singing Keir Starmer's a wanker. That should be being sung at every single football stadium up and down the country. Never mind the clubs. What about your country?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, Bess. I'm not sure.
Well, maybe they're singing it at the Six Nations when England play.
Let's hope so. You know, let's hope so.
But let's right. I've got more political base, like to do with advance, etc. But the first one is, I might be wrong on this, but I swear I think I heard you say this on one of your videos to prove that I'm watching. And if I'm wrong, I'm just going to look an idiot. But did you not begin by endorsing Reform UK and Nigel Farage? And if so, what happened?
Well, look, like a lot of people today who are still under the rather naive belief, unfortunately, I fell under the spell of believing that Farage and Reform represented our best and only chance of trying to win our country back or get it back to some kind of normality, get it back on track. Before the last general election, I was contacted by senior members of Reform who invited me down to Plymouth. I've told this story a couple of times before, but I'll go through it again. We was invited down to Plymouth to go and have a meet, and I was seen as without a question, I was seen as the man that could covertly be the bridge between Reform and Tommy Robinson. They wanted Tommy's support. They wanted Tommy's voters. They wanted Tommy supporters' votes. So it makes me laugh when I watch Richard Tice and the other clown. His name escapes me now. One of the latest converts from Conservative to Reform. He was at it yesterday or the day before. It makes me smile when they say we don't want anything to do with that lot. Well, they bloody well did before the last general election. Yeah. So they dragged me down to Plymouth, gave me a set of promises to take away. I won't reveal, I'll tell you why I won't, because I'm a gentleman. Unlike them, I don't break my promises. I've never revealed exactly what was said or what was promised, right? But I will say that part of that deal, part of the handshake was that they would stop vilifying Tommy and Tommy's supporters, and that they would, at some stage in the future, leave the door open for all patriots to join Reform, including myself, who at the time of talking to Reform was banned from joining because I used to belong to a political party called For Britain, run by Anne-Marie Waters. And For Britain was on the Reform proscribed list. If you'd been a member of For Britain, you couldn't join Reform. And I said to them, look, if you want to win a general election, you need everyone's vote. You need all these people, it doesn't matter which political parties they've been a member of in the future, whether it was the BNP or the Socialist Workers' Party. If they've seen the light and they've come right and they've got their head straight, everyone has the right to vote. Okay, so, open your books, open the doors to people who have belonged to whatever parties they belonged to before. You haven't got to publicly endorse Tommy or the movement. Just stop bullshitting. Just stop lying. I went back to Tommy. I told him about the meeting. I told Richard about the meeting. Richard, to be fair to him, was very sceptical, very sceptical. He said, Paul, they're full of shit. Trust me. And I said, Richard, I looked these people in the eyes and shook their hand. I'm going to take them at face value. What have we got to lose? I spoke to Tommy. Tommy agreed. And that afternoon, he endorsed Nigel Farage and Reform. And then they threw us all under a bus. So I don't believe a goddamn word that comes out of Reform's mouth. And that anyone that does, I'm afraid you're very much mistaken. Now, if anyone's sitting there thinking, oh, so he lied to you, what difference does that make? Look, a liar's a liar, right?
Yep.
He told us, the Reform representatives told us that they wanted to work with us and then threw us all under a bus. Well, they're telling the general public right now that they want to work for you. Well, watch them throw you all under a bus when they've got your vote, just like they did to us.
Yep. Did you see the video with the Muslims saying, yes, we've infiltrated Reform? I actually done a video about that. And they're like, no, you're making it up. I'm like, he's literally there saying it, cheering. So, I mean, are we sort of looking at a vote for Reform could well be a vote for the Muslim community in Islam? I mean,
no, I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think you'll get. No, I don't. I don't think you'll get many in the Muslim community that's going to be prepared to vote for Reform. You might get a few businessmen, that are sensible and they understand that Farage is a man that would potentially put business back on its feet in this country, with a bit of real conservatism. But in general, the Islamic vote will go to who the Imam tells them to vote for, and that will be either Labour or the Green Party. So I think Farage's attempt to make friends, if that's the right word, because, we're going to the bit that always has to be said. Look, not all Muslims are bad. We know that, right? I've known some fabulous Muslim people in my life. They're not the problem. The problem are the radicals. The problem are the ones that are corrupt and that will, organise this block voting, potential fraud, etc. These are the people that are the problem. Now, for Nigel Farage to try and sit down with the pipe of peace with these people is very naive, because they're never going to work with him. They will only work with themselves. They only have one loyalty, and that is to themselves. And again, they have to be commended for that. I wish we was as tight as they are. They could teach us a thing or two, or about unity, because their resolve appears to be stronger than ours. So for us to say, if you alienate all of Islam, we'll lose, that is not the right answer. That is just not the right answer. We don't have to alienate Islam, right? We just tell it as it is, and they're either with us or they're not. If they're not with us, there's plenty of planes that fly out of Heathrow and Gatwick every day. But it's not for us to work with them. It's for them to work with us, because it is the United Kingdom. It is a Christian country. And if they don't like it, well, that's just tough luck.
Yep.
They won't find anywhere. They won't find anywhere else that's better. I guarantee them that. No,
definitely not. But obviously on the back of that, so what was it that actually attracted you initially to Ben Habib and Advance UK?
Well, I think after what happened with Reform, I felt politically homeless for a while, and quite disillusioned. And then I watched, I've always been an admirer of Ben. Ben has been one of the politicians that whenever he came on the TV screen, I wanted to hear what he had to say. And it was a long shot. It was a long shot. After Ben resigned from Reform, I got in touch with him and said, do you know what, Ben? I understand that I might not be your type of individual, working class lad, etc. But would you be interested in having a little meet and having a chat and, let's get together? And we did that. And we've become, I think, quite good friends. I'd like to think we speak a lot. I wouldn't say every day, but not far short of every day. We have contact with each other. And he's a real man of integrity. He's a very unique individual. He's a man that most impressively is able and capable of bridging all social gaps. Ben is just as much empathy for the homeless individual laying in the street doorway as he does a billionaire. You won't get any better treatment just because you're a rich man with Ben. And I like that. And we just got, quite close. I managed to get him together with Tommy, which was one of my aims. I am proud to say that I played a role in getting Tommy, a fairly big role in getting Tommy and Ben together, I hope. And I think that was the right decision. I think that was the right thing to do because Ben deserves our support.
Definitely. Cara there saying that glad to see you calling him out. I assume that's the Matt Allwright situation because obviously keep up with the chat, but but obviously you took it one step further, obviously regards to Advance UK, because you are now a college member, and it sounds very official, Paul, doesn't it? But what is the college, and what do you have to do?
Well, the college is a group of people. Advance is a very unique party in the respect that the leader is accountable for what he does to the party members and to the members of the college. So if Ben does something wrong, or if he talks about things that we believe are incorrect, in the college we can call him out. We can say, Ben, we don't like this. This is a problem for us. He's not a dictator. Like, Farage is a bit of a dictator within Reform. You can't criticise Nigel Warshaw out. You can't question him or Shaw out. Well, with Ben, if I've got a problem with something that Ben said, or there's a problem with policy or whatever within the party, I could pick up the phone and say, Ben, what's going on? And he'll give me a straight answer. I might not like the answer, but our job in the college is to make sure that the party is kept on the straight and narrow. And if we see anything that is nefarious or is disagreeable to what we believe will be the best interest of the party, we have the power to call it out. And I'm very proud, honoured and flattered to be a part of it. I don't really think I'm worthy of that place, but Ben sees otherwise. Obviously, I'm not stupid. I have a good social media presence, which I know is valuable to the party, but that's not why Ben and me have a good relationship. I think Ben likes me for my honesty, and I have been honest with him in the past. And I appreciate his honesty and his integrity. And more than anything, I appreciate his passion and his love for the country.
Fair comment. I did see, I don't know if you know, did you see about the Devon's largest council, Advance UK, gained 2 new councillors?
Yeah.
And Angela Nash. Do you think they're going to be a good asset for Advance UK?
Look, I think at the moment, right now, as an evolving party, as a growing party, we got to take what we can, but we've got to be careful about who we accept. Obviously, as a college member, party policy, party lines, etc., is not really my brief. My brief is to do the best I can for the party from within the party and let the bigger brains deal with the bigger problems, if that makes sense.
Right.
That's one of the things that makes reform such a great place to be, because, as I've said before, we're building a skyscraper and I'm just a very small cog in the massive foundations that are being built. And there'll be a lot of people that will come to Advance over the next year or two. And we can just do our best. If we fail, I would rather fail trying than fail giving up.
Yep. Because on obviously the flip coin, there was also you probably do know, but the leader of Wales, Richard Taylor, apparently, but I mean, he had a potty mouth. I wasn't a fan, and when I heard that he quit, it was like water off a duck's back, may I say. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Do you think it was a good thing for him to resign?
Look, I saw Richie last week. I got to be honest with you, I like Richard Taylor. Richard Taylor, I think, is a good guy. He, as far as I'm aware, he has left the college or he's left his position for personal reasons. Now, personal reasons could be absolutely anything. They could be relationship issues, they could be illness, health, it could be family, it could be all sorts of things. What I can say is that he's still a member of Advance, and he will be at the event tomorrow. So obviously there's not that much wrong. It's like I spoke to Richie very briefly about it, and he said that he left for personal reasons, and I left it at that because I'm not going to pry into his personal life,
I just thought he swore way too much, so maybe stepping down suitable. I mean,
he can't have swore more than I did in that video the other day. But
yours is one off. His is every single video. I mean, it was like watching Roy Chubby Brown again.
Yeah, I get what you mean. No, I get what you mean. It is what it is.
I mean, I don't know him personally. I just felt like the way he was, whatever position he was in, and the way he spoke the bad language, I didn't think that was a good look. But I don't know him personally, so I'm not talking about him personally in any shape or form.
No, I get that. Do you know what, mate? I will say this. Look, times change, right, in general. And do you know what? I've come to the conclusion that over the years, we've all fell for the guys with the plush suits, the posh accents, the suit and ties, never say boo to a goose. I'm sick of it. When I was in business for, best part of half a century, the biggest crooks I ever met wore a suit and tie and spoke very well, right? Some of the most honest people that I ever met, plumbers, bricklayers, ambulance drivers, ordinary people doing different jobs, workmen, British workmen, who had proper moral fibre and backbone. So I don't mind. I'd rather see a parliament full of workers than a shirkers, I'd rather see I'd rather see a Westminster full of people than full of paedophiles, right? That's what I believe.
I've got a question on illegal immigration, but so I don't miss Electrodoc did ask, does Paul have an opinion on a British ICE being formed if Advance got in?
It is something that I would support 100%. Personally, I would support that. So the term ICE now, the acronym ICE now is obviously labelled with some things that have happened out in the States which haven't been ideal. Obviously, they haven't been ideal. No one losing their life is ideal. But in Britain, we would do things differently, wouldn't we? We would do things a lot differently. Firstly, because, our police forces are predominantly unarmed. And secondly, so is our population. Now, if we go back to the second incident recently where a man was unfortunately killed, lost his life during that incident, he was carrying a firearm. And legally, I might add, he was legally carrying a firearm, and the police are obviously legally carrying firearms. It's not a good mix.
No.
So I think that a British version of ICE would look very, very different, would be far more humane, far more socially acceptable. But do you know what? That's a long way. If you don't mind me going into this a little bit deeper, if that's okay, I don't want to take up too much time, but it's a long way down the road before we necessarily need a British version of ICE, because we know where a lot of these people are. Now, the sheer logistics of it, and if we start off with the easiest ones of all, the easiest two groups to deal with are the illegals who are already here, and we know where they are. Many of them are in camps and hostels and hotels. We know where they are, so they're not going to be difficult to find. You don't need an army to go and get them. The second group are in jail, so they're extremely easy to get your hands on. Again, you don't need a British version of ICE to go and round them up. They're behind bars already. So it would be some considerable time before that even needed to be considered. And before we had to go down that rather painful and probably quite ugly looking route, as much as a lot of people would like it, and I would support it myself, it would look ugly, let's be honest. And I think we could probably avoid it. I think if we set the right rules and put the right rules in place, the people that shouldn't be here probably wouldn't want to be here anyway and would start to leave organically. But until we take away the incentives for them being here in the first place, the ridiculous, outrageous, almost criminal incentives that are here, then the situation's only going to get worse. And I don't actually blame the migrants. They're just doing what's best for themselves in most cases. I blame the traitors that have facilitated it.
Yeah, makes sense. But with regards to Advance, what do you think, or even your personal view, what do you think of the illegal immigration situation we got now, and the Labour trying to blag us that there's less because there's not so many in hotels, but they put them in the barracks and the HMOs? I mean, is there something that could be done? I mean, it's right, like with me, on former videos, I'm like, they get off the boat, they follow the railings round, they get on another boat, they go back to France. But nothing's that easy, is it?
No.
I've not seen any women or children, Paul. I've seen one woman and maybe an 8 to 10-year-old in a photo on a dinghy. That's it. I'm not saying that there's not anymore, but I haven't seen them. What do you think?
No, and to be fair, I haven't. I mean, I've only visited a couple of hotels. I never saw any women or any children. They're all men. Look, it's a dangerous place for us to be, isn't it? At the end of the day, I'm a human being, and I don't wish anyone any harm or I don't wish anyone any ill. But at the end of the day, this is our home. This is our house. You don't let people into your house that you don't know and you can't trust. When you go out of a home, people, if they've got one, they'll put the burglar alarm on, shut all the windows and lock the front door. And the reason they do that is to stop strangers from entering the place where they live. This is the place where people live. Just because it's a bit bigger than your house, it doesn't matter, because those people can get to your daughters, they can get to your sons, they can get into your homes. And I'm not saying that every single one of them is a threat, because clearly I would think that the majority of them do not represent a threat for the moment, at least. Why? But then you have to ask yourself, why are they coming here in the first place? What is their end goal? Because if only they knew the state the country was in, frankly, they'd be better off in Germany. They'd be better off in France. There's a lot of places that they'd be better off long term than the UK. So why are they being bought here? For the moment, it's for the short term gifts, but long term, I'm not so sure that they want to stay anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have another 5 years of Keir Starmer. They'd soon want to leave then.
Yeah, without a doubt. But that sort of goes to the next question as well, is the ECHR. I mean, would you or would Advance be like, right, yep, we need to leave because this is really screwing up the plans?
Out. Simple as that. Leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, leave.
Yeah. I knew, see, that question wasn't a long one because I knew the answer was going to be short as well. Otherwise, the question's longer than the blooming answer, isn't it? But
well, look, you don't have to be a member of the ECHR to know what human rights is all about and to respect human rights. You know, I respect everyone's human rights, and I'm not a member of any organisation that likes to portray its belief in human rights. Human rights are human rights. It's like right and wrong. We all know what's right and wrong, right? So you don't have to, the nation, the country doesn't have to be a member of that organisation. So make sure that people's human rights are kept, that they're respected and adhered to. But we have to be firm. We have to be firm for the sake of our own people, of all races and colours and religions that already live here. Because if this all goes off to shit, right, if this all kicks off, make no mistake, a civil war, God forbid, is not going to discriminate. It's going to affect everyone. So we've all got skin in this game. From every community, we all have skin in the game to get our country back on its feet.
Yep.
Because if we don't, we're all in it together. We're all going to suffer together. Some are going to suffer worse than others, but we are all going to suffer.
Yep. And speaking of suffering, because I'm sure they are, the kids nowadays, what should we call it? Should we call it education or should we call it indoctrination? I mean, what can we do about the education system? Because, I mean, this woke stuff and having books that describe certain acts, should we say, that sexual or whatever. I mean, what can we do, Paul? These are our kids. This is our future, our kids. This sort of thing, as you can tell by my voice, it's changed, really bugs me because anything towards kids, they're innocent. That's why, to a degree, the illegal thing, the safety of the women, I mean, anything that's against those who can't defend themselves, that back up. But this with kids in schools, what do you think, Paul?
Well, I think it's outrageous. It's been happening for a very long time. But this is where the problem gets so deep, you know, with the unions, you know, that so much of society has been infiltrated and is being influenced by the hard left. And I'm not talking about your average trade unionist. My dad, God rest his soul, was a trade unionist. I mean, when I was a young lad, he was a Labour voter, but he wouldn't have gone along with all this crap. You know, he was a patriot. You know, the Labour Party used to be the party for the working people. My dad was a working class lad, brought up in a working class area, the same as me. So when I was younger, when I was a child, the Labour Party was the natural home for working class men. But what's happened is the party itself and the organisations around it, the trade unions and the civil service and now the government, of course, and all areas of society, including the mainstream media, they've been very clever. They've got the jobs, they've got the influence, they've got their sticky paws on just about everything that matters, and that is what is causing the problems in our schools, colleges and universities. So, you know, it's an old phrase now, but the swamp needs to be drained completely and allowed to dry before we start filling it again. And we need radical change. We need laws, we need rules, we need, you know, there should be laws against university lecturers turning normal children. They go in perfectly normal when they come out 2 years later talking like Jeremy Corbyn. And it's got to stop because those children are victims. These people are victims of indoctrination. They're being groomed by the hard left, and they are being abused, basically. And often when I see these youngsters, these uni students, they all seem to have the same accent. Oh, I've been to uni, you know. They all come out talking the same. They all come out with the same work shy attitude and the delusions of grandeur. They're gonna, you know, be the next Jake Paul or whatever. And after girls on OnlyFans, you know, they're gonna make $1 million doing that. Look, the bottom line is they've been abused.
Yeah.
And they have nothing. They have. I was watching a little video earlier on where one of them said they haven't got an ounce of patriotism in them. That is so sad. They've got no belonging. They don't belong anywhere. They have no home. They have no spiritual home. They have no historical home. They have nothing. It's all been stolen from them by the hard left, from the teachers unions, etc. So as much as they annoy me and they irritate me and they aggravate me, really, I have a lot of sympathy for them, because it's like, if that is what you're taught, you are being indoctrinated and you are a victim. You've been groomed, and that's what's taking place.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to dart around. I can't realise how quick this time's gone, Paul. Blooming out. By, but anyone, if you definitely want an answer, if you definitely want a question put to Paul, then do a super chat. Otherwise, when I say, you can jump in the live chat and we'll do a couple of questions of yours in there. So that's all good. But Paul, this is a nice simple question. I mean, it's ridiculous. I can't believe I'm even going to ask you this, but Paul, is the British countryside too white? Let me think. Africa's too black, by the way.
It's gaslighting, isn't it? It's just gaslighting, and it's causing division where there doesn't need to be division. Is the British countryside too white? How can it be too white when the United Kingdom is, from an ethnic viewpoint, we are historically a white country. So unless you want to eradicate white people, which is no different from wanting to eradicate brown people, both are just as abhorrent, right?
Yep.
It's a ridiculous question. It's, of course the countryside's not too white. And anyone that says that it is, in my humble opinion, is a racist. You don't have to be white to be a racist.
Yeah, I've not written this question down, but now you've mentioned racism, I've got to bring this up. What about Zach Polanski saying that heroin, crack cocaine, that being illegal is racist? I mean, what? Come on, Paul, give my head a wobble for me. Is that real?
Yeah, look, Zach Polanski's a clown, the David Paul, the tip whisperer, I mean, the man is a clown. And anyone that takes someone like that seriously as a politician is frankly off their rocker. I wouldn't even, honestly, I don't even really want to talk about David Paulden. Sorry, Zach Polanski. Obviously, David Paulden's his real name. The man is insignificant. The party isn't. The Green Party is not insignificant. They will attract a big Islamic vote. But David Paulden as an individual and as a leader is pretty insignificant. He's going nowhere here. And, he's going nowhere.
It's crazy.
Full, complete full.
Right, I'll drop all those questions. I told you having 18 was too many. God, what am I like?
Well, if you want, we could do some quick fire. I'll try and make them a bit slower. The answers.
No, it's fine. What I'll do is I've got one question that I really want to ask. So I'm just about to ask that, but I don't know how you're going to answer that. Good luck with that. And the other one is about your YouTube and that I want to say, and obviously plug it, etc. So I'm doing that because you've taken the time to be here. So that's happening regardless, I'm afraid. But one, I don't know if you can answer this, but what is it that you want to hear, or what are you hoping to hear on Saturday at the membership conference for Advance UK?
Great question. I know what we're going to hear, but I can't reveal it.
Damn.
So you'll have to tune in tomorrow for that one, I'm afraid. So obviously, I'm privy to what is being released tomorrow. I've been part of it to some degree. But it's, tomorrow is the big unveil, and it's going to have to remain that way. So,
well, I'm actually a fully paid up member of Advance UK, so I'm watching the full 4 hours. But ladies and gentlemen, I know where you're going to go, but I'm going to say it anyway. But at 12:30 tomorrow, apparently Paul Thorpe's going live with the Advanced UK Conference. But at 12:45, I'm going to try and go live with the conference on YouTube. But I've come to a decision. I'm going to give it an hour. And if Paul's is seriously more popular than mine, I'm going to stop and then I'm going to go over and watch Paul's myself. So there you go. You've got 2 places to possibly watch it. But with Paul's, you're going to have thousands of views, aren't you, mate? So I'll be on the hundreds.
We'll see. We'll see. I tell you what, I tell you what I would appreciate us doing before we end up tonight. There's been not many, but there's been a few critical comments in the chat, and I'm always happy to answer any critic or any question that comes through. If anyone's saying, "Oh, Paul, why aren't you answering my question?" It's because I'm not the one in charge of the questions tonight, so I'll leave that up to our host. But you carry on, mate.
What we'll do, literally, I'm literally going to talk to Paul now about YouTube. So any questions you've got, I'm going to have to fly through. Literally with my mouse, going to go through and catch up to get to the top of the chat. If you've got a question for Paul, please put a capital Q and put the question, or super chat it. Super chats come first. I think we've only got one more, and then I'm going to be in the live chat. So capital Q, ask him a question. If it's anything ridiculously bad, the chances are I'm going to put it on screen. Paul's going to answer it and just put you in your place.
Hi, Mo. Guardian Mo's in the chat. Good evening, my friend.
Yep, great to see him. Yeah, I had him on the other day as well. And I've got Dr. Craig Walton on Tuesday as well, who's also Advanced UK and a college member. Yeah. And after this absolutely fantastic interview with Paul, he's going to be telling people, you need to go onto the Wizards channel and have an interview. That bloke is just magic, pure wizardry.
That's been good. I've enjoyed it.
That's my sales technique. Yeah. I've not been, I've not been as nervous as I thought I was going to be being with you, Paul. I don't know what it is. Your presence makes me nervous. I don't know why that is.
No. Oh, that I hope not.
I'll just stand there and someone's trying to swing at me. I've not been this nervous. I'm like, what are you doing to me, Paul? But anyway, right. You're on YouTube and you have been for a long time. I did look and I've memorized. You've got over 308,000 subscribers, which seriously, it's impressive. But it shows being truthful, being honest, people follow. It's as simple as that. But I have a feeling, because I've looked, and I've been, especially if I talk about Islam or Muslims, the YouTube, the shadow banning that doesn't happen, the notifications such as subscribers that don't happen, but apparently they do. And also, which I've had, I think it was about 50, about 3 or 4 months ago, it looked like subscribers have been removed or unsubscribed. And I was like, what? And all this because you stand in what you believe in. I mean, this is ridiculous. I've gone through your channel, Paul, and the last 2 months, should we say 6 weeks, some of your videos are getting 10 to 20,000 views, some up to 25,000. Before that, your videos were getting at least 30 to 60,000 views. Some obviously even higher than that. I mean, you're a very popular man. What on earth is going on, Paul? I mean, you're putting your heart and soul, you're wearing your heart on your sleeve, so to speak. You're being honest, you're being true. YouTube, in my eyes, is trying to silence you. I mean, how does that make you feel?
Well, it goes through my mind. You're absolutely right. I can give you some even better stats than that in the respect that, to sum it up, in the last 28 days, I've had 1.3 million views. In the previous 28 days before that, I had just under 4 million. Nothing has changed apart from the visibility that YouTube has chosen to give my channel. Now, it could be from a political thing. It could be. But there may just be a less sinister answer to the question, and I'll tell you what it might be. YouTube favours channels where the advertisers pay the most money. So I'll give you an example. If I'm talking about Rolex watches, The algorithm knows that I'm talking about a luxury item, and the algorithm knows that the people that are going to watch my videos about a luxury item are more likely to be buying luxury items. The advertisers also know that. So they will pay more. So for an example, if I'm talking about Rolex watches, people might pay £1 for every 1,000 views they get. If you're talking about politics, they might only be prepared to pay 5p for every 1,000 views, right? So it might be sinister. It might just be the algorithm going through one of these periods that it goes through now and again. I believe that if the algorithm had been fair to me, I would probably be well in excess of 1 million subscribers. But, you know, it is what it is. I do it mostly to get things off of my chest and mostly to give people a channel where they feel they belong and they've got a home. You know, we spoke last night about people's mental health. You know, do you feel like this government has sent you bloody mental? Because if that's how you feel, don't worry, you haven't gone mental. It's them, not you. And people appreciate that. There are genuinely people out there that are thinking, am I going mad? No, they're not going mad. The government has gone mad. We're still normal.
Yeah, so to speak. I mean, like I said to you, I've struggled. 49. I've spent 42 years, believe it or not, with depression. Got diagnosed depression, bipolar, anxiety. I don't know where all that comes from, but here that's another reason I do this channel, because I fight it every day. If I put in, I'm live at 6 p.m, I'm interviewing Paul, well, there's no ifs, buts, or maybe. Stop making excuses. It's going to happen. So that's why I do what I do. And I always think, I should do a video on mental health and men should talk about it. But I did try one. I deleted it because, one, it was quite personal, but two, YouTube shadow banned it. It seemed, I think I had about 36 views after 3 days. And I'm like, I'm not being that open for no one to hear it. So I deleted it. I mean, it's just shocking that mental health is serious, especially with men. We don't talk. I mean, there's things you've got to go to the doctor for. I bet you don't.
All the time. Yeah, exactly. You know, I think you know, I want to commend people like yourself for doing what you do, putting the time, the effort in, for putting your head above the parapet, for taking the risk, taking the chance, and speaking from the heart. You know, I hope, you know, this is one of the reasons why views potentially could be down, because you know, look, when I first started talking about politics, there are now 150, 200 more channels than there were then talking about the same thing. That may be one of the reasons. Yeah.
Like someone said, I could see that there, but I'm not on it. But it's on the screen. So about Ricky Hatton, that was a shock. Yeah. It really was. But right, we've got one on the screen for you there. Paul, please pray for my health issues. I've had some bad news. Sorry to hear that, Hertford, 1998. Regards, Linford's. Hope you are well, mate. God bless.
Yeah, Linford, I certainly will, my friend, and I hope you are, well, you know, I hope you're okay. Whatever the problem is, stick with it, brother. You know that our thoughts and prayers are with you, and certainly our support. So I know you're strong. I know what you've been through. Don't give up, buddy. Promise me you won't give up, and you keep fighting. And I mean that. Keep going, Linford.
Yep. And if we're in doubt, I'm having one of those days. As you can see at the top of the screen, I'm live all those times. Come and join us, have a chat. As with Paul, obviously, the link to his channel is in the description. So subscribe. Keep on the lives, mate. Talk to us. We'll see you in the chat.
You're part of a community, Linford, and that community needs you as much as you need it. You know, good luck to you, brother.
These questions for you, Paul. Do you want to read them and answer, or do you want me to read them for you? Or I'm not saying that you're like Muhammad.
No, you can. You're the host. You read them out, mate.
Yeah, okay. I'll put my host voice on now. But Paul, what is your views on true disabled people? Because with Pouncy, he does say about this stuff on some of my streams, and I'm always saying there is a serious. Well, people like to defraud the system, should we say, but true disabled people and veterans that are suffering like mad constantly have cuts, being evicted, treating bad, and being cancelled. And also, Pouncey has said that he had an important operation and it got cancelled due to monetary reasons.
Well, I needed an operation I couldn't even get. It didn't even get as far as being cancelled, but that's another matter. I mean, look, Pouncey, my answer to that would be the system is being taken advantage of by far too many people, unfortunately. And what we need, I think, is some kind of, I mean, look, I'm just thinking out loud now. The people that genuinely need help should get it. There's no doubt about that in my mind whatsoever.
Yep.
Whether you're a veteran, whether you're not a veteran, if you're disabled, you need all the help that you can possibly get and all the help that you can possibly be given. The people that anger me are the hundreds of thousands of people across the country that use that system to basically ponce off the state and steal off of people that genuinely need our help. Now, I'll help anyone. I literally will help anyone. But there are con men out there. There are people that will con you. We've all seen the amount of, we all know how many people are on disability benefits when the only illness they really suffer from is sticky mattress syndrome, you know. So we need councils. We need people that are professionals in their sphere, looking at individuals' cases and saying, yes, this person needs help, this person needs this person needs that. The real issue, and for me, the real problem, the biggest problem potentially, and I haven't got the answer to this, mate, but the biggest potential issue is mental health. Because how do you really know if someone is suffering from mental health problems? They can look and act perfectly normal, but could be suffering from severe depression. You could have someone else that is a very good actor and convince people that they've got problems and they're perfectly fine. So that it's not black and white. That's what I'm saying. It's not black and white, and you need better people than me, better qualified than me, to come up with a definitive answer. Yep.
It's not really a question, but it's more of a statement. But I mean, you can agree or disagree. But Carol says, I think Spain is going down the same route as us. I mean, did I mention earlier about the 500,000?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things I'd have to say about that. Firstly, I don't genuinely make a habit of talking about Spanish politics because I'm a guest here and it's not my business. But I will comment on this particular instance of the 500,000 that are allegedly coming. I'm told, reliably informed, that 30% of those 500,000 are actually Brits who are already here illegally and have been here illegally since Brexit. So that's one thing that I've been told. The other thing is that people should understand, and this doesn't seem to, this point is missed by a lot of people. Spain is more than twice the size of the UK. It's about 2.1 times the size of the UK, and it has almost half the population. So Spain is massive landmass wise by comparison to the United Kingdom, and it has just over half the population. So in all honesty, they could probably let in 2 or 3 million and we still wouldn't be anywhere near the situation that we are back home in the UK. I'm not going to talk about whether I agree with the decision or whether I don't agree with the decision because it's none of my business. I'm a Brit, I'm a guest here, and whatever the Spanish people decide, I will go along with because I'm a guest in their country. I've not come here to try and change their way of life.
I think someone's saying I look like Gandalf. That is my nickname in life. Hence why I come up with the whiz and the wizard's words, or the wizard's verbal diarrhea, as the wife calls it. But very good. Done a splendid job. Yeah, well, we've got a splendid guest. That's what it's all about. So, right, anyone with a queue? I can see a queue. Oh, it's Pouncey again. Paul, fed up with mainstream media and MPs saying disabled get more money than working people and get too much. I know of about 300 or so. I go to 2 groups, all get under £1,000 a month. Most are on £600 a month to live on.
Look, it depends on the level of disability, doesn't it? Look, where I used to live, there was a lovely young man who we raised some money for when I was in the watch business actually. I think we raised about £5,000 for him. This young man, I can't remember his exact disability, but he lives in bed. He needs oxygen machines, he needs special beds, he needs special bathroom, he needs a full-time carer. Look, some disabilities, I don't care what they're getting, if that's what they need, if they're genuinely in a mess, whatever it costs to make their life bearable and to make it as comfortable as it can be, they're entitled to get, and they should be getting. And I do believe that a lot of people who have genuine disabilities are not getting what they should get, but I also believe there are a lot of people who should be getting nothing are getting. So they're the ones that are stealing from you, mate. The cheats are the ones that are stealing from the people that really need our help.
I agree with that. Well said.
And I think there should be, if people are caught deliberately defrauding the benefit system through disabilities, they should have the goddamn book thrown at them, because they're not just stealing from the state, they're stealing from people with genuine disabilities, and that is about as low as it goddamn gets.
I see it's followed by another one. Where is it there? Honestly, I have no idea what to say to that, mate. I mean, I myself will pray for you tonight without a doubt, but
Linford, I don't know what to say, brother, but I will certainly pray for you. I'm sure that you're a young man. You're a young man. Hey dear.
Here we go. It was only a matter of time.
No, look, I'm fine. I'm happy with all of these questions.
To be honest, some of these sort of questions I like, because you get to put them in their place and just say, look, I mean, it's always conspiracy nuts or something. You just think, what planet are you on? But
look,
what do you think Peter Lynch's family don't like your whole gang? It's not a gang.
Well, probably goes back. I would imagine that it goes back to the collection at the Tommy event, and there were people asking questions where that money went afterwards, and should it have gone to the Lynch family. It was my understanding, bearing in mind that I don't have any integral role within Urban Scoop or Tommy's official team. It's none of my business. It's completely separate. I'm a Tommy supporter. I'm not a Tommy employee, right? So I don't get any say or any knowledge, etc., etc. So I think there were things that were said after that, and it's my understanding that they tried to resolve it, or Tommy and his team tried to resolve it. I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I'm probably the wrong person to ask that question. In all honesty, what I would say is this, is that Peter Lynch's death was devastating for everyone. He's a man that will never leave my thoughts and my respect for what he did, for what he suffered, for what he ended up doing. It's terrible, terrible, terrible. My answer to that person is, I've only ever allegedly had one contact with the Lynch family, and that's allegedly because someone rung me very shortly before Tommy went to jail, and they said they would only speak to me or Tommy. And I said, well, you're best off to speak to Tommy. And the next day he was sent down. So that didn't happen. And I don't even know for sure to this day if that was one of Peter Lynch's, one of his family members. It was allegedly, they told me they were. I had no reason to disbelieve them, but I couldn't swear that it was a genuine call or a genuine contact. But I wish the Lynch family all the very best. And, you know, what can I say? I don't know why they might be angry with Tommy's team. That's for them to sort out with Tommy's team.
Apparently, can you ask Paul why he backs Ben Habib of Advance UK? I watched a YouTuber. He said, "I don't want to be Prime Minister."
Well, I think someone that doesn't want to be Prime Minister is probably the best candidate of all, in all honesty.
Yeah.
We've got too many people that want to be Prime Minister. David Lammy wants to be Prime Minister. Keir Starmer wanted to be Prime Minister. Ben Habib is a reluctant leader because he knows the job needs to be done.
Yep, this is the same as the, well, you can tell it's in capitals, he's shouting. But so about why the Peter Lynch T-shirts at the UTK rally after they told you no pics on the tees? Made some plenty of cash though, eh?
I'm not sure what he means, to be fair. You know, again, look, if you're going to talk to me or ask me questions about Urban Scoop's finances, then you might as well ask the bloke next door, because it's nothing to do with me. You know, I have never have had any input, any say, any view, any knowledge, any contact with anything to do with Urban Scoop and finances, apart from when I donated money to them myself. So that's, you know, as you know, look, I understand the question, but you kind of, all due respect, you're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, I think Helen's putting him in his place. But the question, when is Starmer going to resign and be jailed, asks Brian.
Good question, Brian. I tell you what, I think he's on his way out. I don't think he's going to, you know, if he doesn't go now, he might cling on until the disastrous events that are going to take place in May, obviously. I don't even think he'll last that long. I think Labour will get rid of him before then, in the hope of trying to get some resemblance of a decent result at the council elections in May. The bigger question is, and will he be jailed? Well, I tell you now, you know, I said in a video earlier on, and I've been saying it for a while now, when we've got rid of this tyrannical lot and we get a government in power that is willing to do the job, and I don't believe that is reform, but even if it was reform, we in Advance and individuals like myself will keep pushing, and then we'll push a bit more to try and get justice for people like Peter Lynch, God rest his soul, for people like Lucy Connolly, and for like many other people that have gone to jail for nothing more than mean tweets, and for basically for treachery. We want to see some of these people in a dock for the treason that they have bestowed upon our people.
Yep, and I think we've got for the questions, so we'll finish on a nice one here with Truth saying, Paul, politics, learn to read now, right? Paul, politics is a dead game. I admire your principles, and that's what it comes down to, ladies and gents, a man with principles, is it not?
Well, thank you, I hope so. I mean, look, he's right. I mean, politics, I always knew it was a dirty game. It's a lot dirtier than I thought, and this is one of the problems I have, because I was pretty innocent coming into this. You know, I never actually believed that British politicians could actually be anti-British and want things that weren't in the best interests of our country and our people. I couldn't really get my head around that. But since I've been involved in politics and been around some politicians of some pretty serious note, I've discovered that it is a much dirtier game than I ever imagined it would be. And unfortunately, men of principles don't always win. And that is why I say get behind Advance UK.
Obviously, 100%. Brian, will Mahmood be the one to replace him when he goes? I don't think so.
No, I think there's only really one front runner for me, and that's the Ginger Growler. You know, she's got her eyes all over this job, the tax evader. And I think she'll get it. I think she'll get it.
Agreed. I think Streeting's too young, and I've got a feeling behind the scenes he's not a nice person. Lammy, I don't know him. I'm just saying that's the impression I get. Lammy, I don't think so. Miliband, he's ruined us because he just won't drill for oil in the North Sea, and he's pushing this stupid green agenda. So
no, it's Rayner for me. She's the one that's she's the one that's got her claws into the job. You know, what we really need to see is, look, I don't really care, just as long as they carry on doing a bad job.
Yep.
You know, the worst job they do, as far as I'm concerned, the worse the job that they do, the better for us. And I know that sounds counterproductive, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. I said it right at the start of the show. Look, we got to be broken before enough people are ready to stand up and try and fix it. You know, if tomorrow they announced a tax on young white British families only, right, I'd go, brilliant. That'll wake them up. Do you know what I mean? Because it's going to take something to wake them up. But the buggers won't wake up at the moment. A lot of them won't wake up. What is going to make them wake up? So let Labour crack on and do whatever. Let them do their worst.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
I don't want it to happen. But if that's what it takes to wake those that are asleep up, then let it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for subscribing, Carol, and the link to Paul's channel is in the description, folks. So go show Paul some love and subscribe, and make sure you get the bell notification on, because it doesn't always happen. Wiz, you're a gonk wumble. This is some word he invented. We've been going on about this for months. Gonk wumble. I don't know, but who is Floss, and what's Paul's thoughts on her? Because someone, I think it was Paul Burgess, when I interviewed him, mentioned it. Or mentioned her, apologies.
Yeah.
Guardian Mo came on and he said that, you know, it wasn't an actual good impression he got of her. I hope he allows me to say that out. But I've heard of her. I don't know who she is. Do you know?
Yeah, I know Floss. I know her. I'm not going to speak about individuals within the party because that's not my role. And at the end of the day, what I would say right now is that too many people, unfortunately, and I've got every respect for Paul Burgess. In fact, I need to speak to him. I said I'd ring him the other day, but I've just not had any time, to be fair. I've been running around like a blue-ass fly. But the bottom line is this, is that, you know, what we need to do is we need to concentrate on unity, not on division.
Yeah.
And the problem in general with the right is that we fall out over the smallest of things. We fall out over the smallest of personality differences, the smallest of issues. And if anyone's looking for a political party that they agree with everything and everyone that's in it and what everyone says, then the only way to do it is go and set your own political party up, or not be in politics at all. You have to be willing to look past things that you don't necessarily wholeheartedly agree with, as long as they're within your boundaries, if you like. As long as they're within your boundaries, you don't have to agree with everything. So for me, I won't speak about people individually, particularly Floss. As far as I'm aware, I've always gone very well with her. I've never had any problems with her. But people will always criticise someone for one reason or another. You'd have to ask the individual.
Fair comment. I think we just about got us. Look at that, an hour and 32 minutes. That's pure wizardry. I think everything else is just like statements, I think. So reform, Paul Floss. If you see any in there, Paul, that jump out at you?
Well, there's quite a lot. I'm just going to try and flick through some of them. Truth says, Paul, swallow your ego, get back to reform. Look, the easiest thing would be to
can't swallow that ego. What about, mate? It's too big.
I mean, you know, look, here's the thing. I can't go back to reform because they won't have me. They're ashamed of us lot. They don't like the working class. That's very clearly evident. Am I working class? I'm a working class boy, right? But I've worked my way out of working class, but I've never forgot where I come from. And I never would forget where I come from. So at the end of the day, no, thank you very much. one or two people saying they couldn't vote for Ben because he is a Pakistani. What I can say to that is, oh my God, look, I've never met anyone that's more proud to be British than Ben Habib. And Ben for me is as British as it gets. I don't care about the colour of his skin. I care about the colour of his heart. Who would you rather stand next to and fight to the death with? Keir Starmer, who is British and white, or Ben Habib, who has a British mum and a Pakistani dad, and who bleeds red, white and blue. Read Commando comics when he was a kid, right? Same as me. We were brought up on Commando comics and the great British armies and navies and Royal Air Forces. Benny's a patriot. What is wrong with you? Just because he's a bit brown. Jeez, it's crazy. Benny's a fine, fine, fine man.
I agree. I mean, I've never been involved in politics, never voted. And now paid me £20, joined, and if Portsmouth have someone in Advanced UK, unless it's me, I'm voting for him. I can talk. Do you know,
if
I've
I
been
can,
that long, I could be a politician.
Yeah, well, that's it, mate. If you don't mind, I don't know how much longer we got, but I will go through some of the quick comments as I see them. So if I don't get yours and I've ignored them, it's not because I've ignored it, rather. Guns says, followed Paul a few years, said something his mods didn't like, now blocked, not honest guy. Guns, I have no idea why you were blocked. Obviously, I have to have mods, on the channel, otherwise all hell breaks loose. I have had one or two mods over the last couple of years that I've let go. It might have been one of those that banned you. I have no idea. So I apologise for that, but it's nothing personal and it's nothing to do with me. Just trying to find any, the more difficult questions are the ones I'm trying to see. But
I did try to see some to put them up because, we've got to get both sides of the story and there's people that they know everything. So I thought, right, I will keep an eye out, but I haven't seen them, Paul, if I'm honest. I put up the ones from that name beginning with a J that I saw, Jaffa. Or J.
Yeah. No, as I say, I'm always happy to answer difficult questions. Whether I can articulate myself enough correctly with the answers is a different story, because look, you're obviously aware of this and you will pick it up as you go. Look, when you are live and you say something and you're educationally challenged, for want of a better expression, sometimes you say the wrong thing or you say something that people take the wrong way. So it's a tough job. Live is tough. You never know what people are going to ask. You never know what they're going to say. And if you mess it up, it goes not viral, because we're not big enough to go viral, but it goes around the circle and it can make you look stupid,
Yep, it can. So I am scanning, but I'm not finding much. Triggermaster said, Paul, have you seen the Silverfox video? About a certain letter, Andrew.
I've seen the Andrew Bridgen letter. It's on my phone for me to read. I just haven't got around to it just yet.
He's too busy here talking to us and telling us, putting the world right, shall we, or putting the UK right.
I've been out in Benidorm this afternoon, met some lovely viewers from Scotland, met some lovely viewers from the Isle of Man, and we ended up getting talking, and it takes your day up. You bump into people. Best back on arresting Starmer when he gets off his knees. I tell you what, Best, should we all go down there and arrest him? We'll have a party, eh? That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yep, I've been on a lot lately, so I've made her a moderator, so I can never have too many. Always like to have one or two on, but I'm yet to catch one of her videos, because I won't go into too much, but I've got to take my meds at around 9 o'clock. By 10:30, I'm zombie man. I am literally zombie. And I find it really hard, so I feel like I'm missing out. But what can I say? Oh, there's a question. Does Paul think non-nationals should be in our parliament?
Frankly, no. I think that you should be, just like in America, if you want to be president of the United States, you have to be born in America. Look, I haven't really overly thought that one out. You know, I haven't necessarily given that a load of thought. Should you be British born to be in our parliament or to become an MP? My gut instinct says yes, but I'm sure there are exceptions. You know, if Ben had been, I think Ben was born in Karachi, wasn't he? So the answer would have to be, you know, but does being born abroad necessarily make you a foreigner? You know, there's plenty of children of servicemen that were serving in Germany that were born in Germany. Does that make them German? Would that disqualify them from becoming an MP? It's not a black and white question, is it? If you'll pardon the pun.
No.
You know,
but isn't his mum English?
His mum's English, yeah.
So, I mean, there we go. I mean, blimey.
Yeah, his mum's English, yeah.
It's this banana again. Ben moved his business to Poland, putting Brits on the dole queue. Your thoughts, Paul?
I don't have any thoughts. You know, Ben's business is Ben's business. I have no idea where Ben's business is based.
No.
Why it would put people on the dole, I don't know. I mean, look, Jaffet, that's the second time you've come in for, you know, a go. I don't mind, but ask me something that I can help you with, my friend, because Ben's business and Peter Lynch's family is way off of my remit, you know. So, you know, come to me about me rather than about someone else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I left that to you. I'm not saying a word. I mean,
yeah, fine. Fine. You know, I don't mind the questions, but I'm not speculating on things I don't love. I don't know about. You know.
Yeah, it's safer that way. You only get put onto some YouTube short, and someone will say this or that. Do you know what I mean? And try and ruin it. It's one thing.
Well, they're loaded questions, but they're unnecessary because they're not my remit. It's, you know.
Yeah, I'll just entertain him because he feels that, you know, he's got a lot to say. But like Ian Baker says here, look, if you integrate and love the country, but where do you draw the line? I mean, yes.
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, it's a good question because I don't think that someone's skin colour should necessarily, or definitely, you know, someone's skin colour shouldn't bar them from standing for Parliament. I'm more worried about religion, personally. I'm more worried about the oath that they're prepared to swear when they walk into the house and what book they're swearing that oath on. The bottom line is, you know, because I know there's a big thing with the ethno-nats at the moment, and I am not going to talk about them or slag them off either. You know, I'm going to, you know, just say this, right? At the end of the day, the problem that we have right now, the first problem we have to solve is to take back control over the hard left, the communists and the Islamists, that unholy alliance. If we did that, and if we were able to do that, we'd be in a much better place. And worrying about what shade of skin someone is on the Dulux colour chart before we allow them to stand for MP is frankly the last concern on my mind at this particular moment, because we've got much bigger things to worry about.
Yeah. What was it? Shahid Butt, Birmingham, convicted Islamic terrorist. That's where
there's a line. I was going to say there's a line for you, isn't it? You know, there's a line. Yeah. You know, and Shabana Mahmood crossed that line for me, right? Shabana Mahmood openly said during an interview that Islam he plays the biggest role in her life and is the most important thing in her life. Now, if that is the case, I respect that. That's her right. But that disqualifies her surely from being Home Secretary, because her country and her allegiance to the king and to the people of the country should come before any other allegiance. Yep. So to me, without being disrespectful to her, she kind of disqualified herself, didn't she? You know,
I've said that myself on a couple of videos. I said exactly the same as what you just said, Paul, literally. Not
well, at least she was honest. You know, I mean, I'll admire her honesty. You know, at least she told the truth. You know, it's better than the tequila of people saying, "Oh no, you know, I love this country more than anything else," and then behind your back there are, you know, an Islamist plant. At least Jabal Mahmood was honest enough to tell us that Islam is the most important, influential role in her life, so we know what we're facing.
Yep, just like Layla El Maghi, or she's married now, so it's Cunningham with a tattoo with a crest on there. Do you know what I mean? It's strange to have. Like, I was a bit confused at Reform putting up someone to be another Muslim mayor after Steve Khan's absolute nightmare. I mean, nothing against Layla, I don't know her or whatever, but that did get my back up because of how bad it's been and trying to point these Muslims.
Well, it's a strange appointment. It's a strange appointment. Yeah. And again, Reform have probably got it wrong. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I know people, very good friends of mine, people who I really like immensely and I trust even more, know Layla Cullinan personally and assure me that she's a really nice person and has genuinely got the country's best interest in her heart. But when I look at her history that has come out recently and some of the things that she said, you'd then have to be left having to give her the benefit of the doubt and saying that her views have changed. Have they really? Well, I don't know. I've never met the woman. But I think that Reform should have stuck. If they had any sense, whilst they had him, they should have stuck with... his name's gone out of my head. The SAS guy.
Nigel Eli, is it?
No. The oh blimey, come on, guys. How can his name fly out of my head?
He's in the SAS.
The SAS guy. He was on with Reform, wasn't he? He was on the stage with Reform.
There's Ant Middleton.
Ant Middleton, that's it. Cool.
So that was who said that first? Bess Black and then Helen Crystals. Well done, ladies.
If they had any sense, they'd have stuck with Ant Middleton. But instead of that, they decided that he's one of that lot.
Right, that's near enough there, mate. See you in Benidorm, Paul, says Electrodoc, or Richard. I'm there from the 18th to the 25th. Cactus Bar, ring any bells? That sounds prickly.
Cactus Bar. Don't know where the Cactus Bar is. I probably do, but I mean, there are so many bars in bloody Benidorm, I have no idea.
Can Paul send a message to Ben asking him on Electrodoc? Come on now. You can tell ulterior motives because I put it up on the screen.
If you would like Ben on this channel, I'm sure he will be delighted to come along and oblige. He's a very accommodating young man.
Yep, I'm not sure how I can get hold of it. Electrodoc actually got hold of a couple of people for me. I got hold of you myself. I did put up tagging everyone that I could find to do advance saying about an interview, but I mean, not professional, just putting a post on X. But I've got no way of contacting people, so. What can I do? Paul from Hazy Fantasy. Oh, that's a good use of Zeds. Does Advance UK have any plans for getting rid of DEI if in Parliament, please?
I would imagine so. Wouldn't you, Hazy? I would imagine so. But, look, listen. Yeah, I mean, look, the party is slowly but surely rolling out policy, which, will be unveiled over the forthcoming months. But they're being done properly. I love the process of the Advanced UK policy because it is written initially by one individual and then it is sent out to every member of the college for their input, their criticisms, their thoughts, views, additions, things we need to take away from it, etc. Then it goes back to the writer, then it comes back to the college, and then it finally goes back to Ben. So, it's very, very strict.
This is a gentleman, but he says, full respect to Wizard and Paul for addressing my questions. Some Labour in the chat don't like free speech. Shame on them. We've all got different views, Well, we can all agree to disagree, surely. I mean, you can't really come to fisticuffs on the internet, but I mean, there's no need for it. I mean, talk. You're entitled to believe. Sure.
Yeah. We need in general, in general, we need to be able to learn to disagree. Well, we don't, we've always been able to agree to disagree, but the left in particular need to learn how to agree to disagree.
Yes.
100%, Ian. 100%. 1000%.
If Paul was to vote tomorrow, which party and why? It's a common question Guardian Mo asked us. Yeah, because of Reform, innit? I originally said Reform, but totally changed my mind to Advance.
It's a great question. It's a question that I'm going to answer for you. And I'm going to be honest, because I'm always honest. I try and be. It's a difficult question because it's a moral dilemma, and then there's a political dilemma, and then there's what's best for the country. Right? So you've got three dilemmas here, all rolled into one. And the simple answer is that I would vote. Now, bearing in mind, you've asked me if there was a general election tomorrow. Okay, yep. So that's key. If there was a general election tomorrow, I would vote for the party that has the best chance of getting rid of communism. If the general election was tomorrow.
Before you actually say any party, I did watch Nigel Farage state to Laura Kuenssberg that Reform UK is 50% ready. Is that not alarming if there was a vote for tomorrow?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, if depending on, let's be a bit more realistic, depending on when the next general election is. And I have a feeling it could even be this year. I think Labour are so screwed from top to bottom. They're rotten to the core. Let's get it right, guys. Everyone watching now, let's get this right. What you've got on those Labour front benches and the back benches right now is a bunch of con men and women. They're con men.
Yep.
That's what they are. They've lied to us about every single goddamn thing that you could possibly lie about, and they've lied about a bit more after that. They was given a very small mandate in the respect that, the turnout was very low, and they've lied about everything. So we have to be realistic. And if the election was this year, we're all going to have to look and potentially vote tactically to do what is right for the country. Because what we want enough patriotic MPs in the House to hold the power. And they don't all have to come from the same party, by the way. But we need a majority in government and a majority of MPs. When a vote comes up, we win the vote. And that is what we need. So it's a good question, and one that deserves an honest answer.
Happy days. Right. Well, that'll be it, ladies and gents. I think we better wrap it up there. We did say an hour and a half, and here we are, 1 hour, 50 minutes. I'm abusing Paul's generosity with his time. But, I mean, it's been absolutely fantastic. It's got so much better than I thought, because I was like, I'm going to be like a mess here. I'm going to get all the questions wrong, tongue-tied and everything. But no, it's been absolutely fantastic. But, yeah, is there any last words for you, Paul?
Thank you for inviting me on. I'm always happy to support the channels, and the interview was great. I think you've been a good host. Anyone watching now that hasn't subscribed, please do so. I did so the other day. So more power to all you guys, because your voice is just as important as anyone else's, and we're all on the same team, right?
Exactly that. Happy days. So there we go, ladies and gents. That's Paul Thorpe, who so kindly gave us an hour, well, nearly 2 hours of his time. It's been brilliant. You never know. We might even get to do this again, or you never know. Paul might get me on his channel. You never know.
Listen, we definitely will. We definitely will. We definitely will. God bless to everyone. And Linford, stay strong, brother. Much love.
Yes. I was literally going to mention Linford myself, but you've done it for me. So thank you very much, ladies and gents. I am live tomorrow at 12:45 with the Advanced UK conference, but so is Paul at 12:30. And the link to his channel is in the description. So please go subscribe, get the bell notification, and give him some love. Come on, why not? But for now, ladies and gents, thank you very much for watching. And that is the wizard's words.